welcome to another radio podcast thing here on Revelator Alpha Live, a live show, a live stream. So I'm going to be talking about all the latest news coming from the biking world. Some interesting stories out there the last couple of days since my last show, and we're going to have a big discussion on, well, because we're waiting on Harley Davidson, aren't we, on the big reveal on the January the 18th. So we're going to have a discussion about them. Is this, do they have to succeed with this? They cannot fail with this launch. They've got to succeed in 2023 because the way the world is going and everything like that, if you take the pessimistic view, then they've really got to hit the ground running, and they've got to generate a lot of interest and a lot of support for their brand as well. So I will dig into the chats and to the as much as possible, and what I'll do, let me just pop that out so I can see that as well. So 1 second, get rid of that. There we go. Let me just narrow that down a bit so I can put it on the side of my screen. There we go. Put that up there as well. Beautiful. Right. So I can see your comments coming in. If you want to leave a comment, if you want to ask a question about anything related at all. But listen, let's just get into this. And it's all about the news coming out of lots of different sources, actually, lots of sources. And let me just have a look where that is. I've lost it all. Oh, this is going well today, isn't it? Here we go. That one? No, not that one. Don't want that. Bear with me 1 second. It's all gone wrong. No. Where are we? This one? No. We seem to have lost everything here, guys. Let's try this one again. Okay, I will get it back up in a minute, I promise you. It's suddenly failed on me for some reason. I do not know why. There we go. Crikey. What a falar that was. I do apologise. So some interesting news coming out. And I want to start with, if you've been watching my channel, say, quite a while, I keep on talking about alternative fuels and alternative fuels to the for internal combustion engine bikes. And also, if there's going to be any sort of competition for the future of electric vehicles. And I've been listening to some very interesting reports on how electric bikes or electric vehicles are being perceived for the future. Anyway, let's just get into this. This is basically a story that's come out where they're trying to develop carbon neutral fuel, and Zero Petroleum is a company which they're basically, it's like a chemical process between hydrogen, water, hydrogen, carbon, and there's something else. I can't remember, there was something else, and it's apparently it's a very old process from the 1900s as well. And basically they want to see, yes, from 1925. It was developed by Franz Fischer and Hans Topsch in 1925. Zero Petroleum's proprietary and somewhat secret process means processing hydrogen extracted from water by electrolysis using renewable energy together with carbon taken from carbon dioxide in the atmosphere to produce a synthetic fuel. And what this also means is that they're saying here that the fuel doesn't need refinery upgrading, so it can go straight into your combustion engine car, motorcycle of all ages, and it will be then the emissions produced by burning it are equal to those going into making it, so it will be offsetting itself. Very interesting. But this is not the only story. There's another one. Porsche have been developing this process in Chile as well, and they're looking at this synthetic fuel as well, and this is all for the future. But they're looking at and this is from Motorcycle News. This story. The other story was from Inside Hook, by the way. But this one here, they're basically saying they're currently, Michael Steiner, a member of Porsche's executive board for development and research, actually the potential of e-fuels for what they're calling it is huge. There are currently more than 1.3 billion vehicles and combustion engines worldwide. Many of these will be on the road for decades to come, and e-fuels offer owners of existing cars and motorcycles here a nearly carbon neutral alternative. Initially, e-fuel production of around 130,000 litres per year is planned, which is literally a drop in the ocean, because I can't remember how many barrels of oil are consumed, in a single day, but it's astronomical, not only at a national level but also at a global level. So obviously there's a long way to go. But if you're looking for the future, then this is really interesting. You've got two companies here, and dare I say there's going to be a lot more other companies as well. They're going to start producing processing plants, not only in the US, around Europe, Japan. So it's a way of the future just to have an alternative fuel. And I think this is really interesting. But they are talking about it's going to be quite expensive. Now, the one critic of this that I've heard is that it's an unproven science. And it really depends how green is it really, and also how convenient is it to produce the green energy required to do this, so it's a very interesting topic. Obviously they're looking at big solar farms, huge solar farms, to be able to do this. They're going to have to acquire land right in the middle of nowhere. So if you think of places like United States, like Nevada, places like that, right, you can have a whole area that's just nothing is there. You can have mass solar farms, places like in Peru or in Chile as well. Any country that's got a vast, dry, sunny wasteland, let's say, then you could set up these plants, and it appears that it could be something for the future. So watch your space on this. Watch your space, how it develops. Okay, so the next one really is, I suppose it's in the news. Not really news as in as of today, but I came across it. This was a recall for gas motocross engines, off-road motorcycles. As an incorrectly programmed CDI box from KTM, and basically there's about 231 bikes in addition to 40 were sold in Canada, which isn't a lot really, is it? Anyway, so they should get that. If they haven't already been rectified, they'll get that done. You basically take your bike into your local gas dealership or KTM dealership, and I'm sure that they're 2022 models, the MC250 motorcycle that's got the gas there. So I thought it was quite interesting here. Here we got, I thought it was really funny. There's basically Italian police chase that lasted 2 months, would you believe? This a police chase which began with a stolen motorcycle in Italy was concluded 2 months later with a truck in south of France. It has appeared. A 20-year-old has been arrested in France after escaping from authorities in Italy during a police chase last August. So it's taken them over 2 months just to get the guy. I mean, it was really... That just seems really funny to me. But there we go. I'm going through these news stories quite quickly because I want to get onto the main body of the story here. All I can say, this is from up north in UK, Lancashire. All I can say, it sounds like runts. They broke into a scooter shop and stole scooters and motorcycles. There was a BSA, I think, a few scooters as well. They haven't found them. A couple of bikes were dumped. They haven't found the rest as yet. A couple of stories covered that. Unfortunately, that was just at the end of the year. That was Bell has developed a new helmet, a limited edition Carl and Dunn motorcycle helmet. The helmet that Bell has released is a replica of Carl and Dunn's helmet design that he used in Pike Peaks in 2018. So that's really nice. That looks quite good, doesn't it? Really. So to honour Carl and Dunn's accomplishments as a motorcycle racer or a motorbike racer. Yeah, he was has been Ducati rider at Pikes Peak and around, and in 2019 was taking part on board a prototype Ducati Street Fighter. So has been regular Pikes Peaks and has taken victory 4 times in the past: 2011, 2012, 2013, 2018. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, good. Nice looking helmet. Okay, so that's one. Right, here's an interesting one. Watch out for this name of motorcycles, Cove. They are a Chinese brand, but they're coming up with different bikes here, different sort of street bikes, off-road bikes, that kind of thing. Motocross, got a 250 motocrosser here, MX 250, which is 98 kilos. It's one of the lightest 250 4-stroke bikes available. The brand was also entered the 2023 Dakar, which is going on right now, as a factory team with its 450 rally. Somebody mentioned the other day that there was Chinese teams in the Dakar rally. Yes, the regular competitors as well. So there, here's another brand who's going to be producing more bikes and more variations throughout the year. Decent bikes, by all accounts, decent bikes as well. So I say, yes, it's Chinese bike, but this is, it seems as if they've got some good design, good manufacturing on this one. I was listening to a report the other day. They were talking about the future of China as well. I think I might have mentioned it in the last live stream as well. Very interesting. What it's talking about global future and different countries, how they're going to fare in the future, and it's all to do with population and all to do with the next generation. There's like a gap, or there's a shortage of the youth in some of these countries like Russia and also for China. So they're talking about the future of manufacturing. So whilst, I think they're striking while the iron's hot here, because by all accounts, the next 20 or so years, 10 years, 20 or so years, China is going to fall on its behind, as it were, from a manufacturing, but also from a being able to support itself, fuel itself, and feed itself. So it's worrying times for them, I'm sure. Okay, here's an interesting one. This is from Motorcycle News again. This is a company, Marlin Motorcycles. They're going to build 10 of these bikes. The ultimate adventure bike, the Tuab, is a 1995 Honda NX 650 Dominator. Yeah, decent bike as well. I'm sure I saw this all muddied up at the Motorcycle Live show. If you saw this, I'm sure I saw it either at the CCM stand or something like that. Let me know if you were there and you saw this, or I saw something very, very similar. As I say, so this is like purpose built. The brief of the build was to create a bike that was light enough to throw around, which I'm a great fan. I've got to have a light bike. Without having to worry about picking it up when you drop it, but also total utilitarian. So it had everything you need to take you across the world. Starting with the customer's NX 650, Marlin stripped the original bodywork, modifying the frame, including redesigned subframe with a Bimotor pannier mounting system, tank bash bars, and engine boulder bars as well. Yeah, okay, that looks good, doesn't it? Looks good. Spare petrol tank. Yeah. Well, looks nice. Looks nice. Yeah, I mean, if you're into that kind of thing. It doesn't say how much these things are, do they? No. Marlin added, as with the original, they will be tailored to the client's individual needs, and each will be unique. The order book will open soon, so if you so you can order one of these. So if you're into off-road, definitely have something like this. It's like purpose built, really, and decent bike, those NX 650s. Those Dominators. Okay, here's another one. Just a name to. There's quite a few motorcycle shows going on around the world right now. I think some of the Far East, India. So just be aware. There's another one called Matter, and they're a technology startup from India. They're producing lots of different technology, but they're also displaying concept bikes and next generation EVs, and they're looking to produce electric bikes and help India transition from petrol driven to electric bikes in the coming years as well. So Again, watch out for them. Matter technology or Matter innovation. I'm not sure what they could be called, but they got a 6 kilowatt variant of the Matter bike. India's first geared motorbike is built on the innovative Matter bike platform. So, yeah, watch out for Matter. I'm not sure the name there. Matter. What's the matter? I don't know. It's a bike. Here we go. Electric bikes. What's all that about? Okay, I've just talked a little bit about Matter and obviously some other bikes as well. I always like to give a quick rundown of the latest tech. We've got here a couple of stories as well, but I'll start with this one. As I said in the last live stream, the technology and the innovation and evolution of batteries, especially the batteries here for these EV bikes, is just going on leaps and bounds. And they're basically saying that it won't be long or very, very close to having solid-state battery technology discovered by a Japanese university could reduce charging times for electric bikes to just minutes, literally just minutes. So this is out of Visor Down, motorcycle manufacturer magazine or publication, online publication. Using lithium batteries is something quite common, and lithium-ion batteries are the standard for electric bikes in cars by 2023, and have been for a while. However, there are flaws in lithium batteries; they can catch fire as well, and many of these come from liquid state of the electrolytes used. Okay, so the solution is clear. Use solid electrolytes instead. This is where the solid state term comes from for solid state batteries. But these also have a problem compared to their liquid form counterparts. When lithium ions flow from one electrode of the battery to another in a solid state battery, this action causes an expansion or shrinking of the electrode itself, compromising the structure of the battery. Continued use and the completion of many charge discharge cycles results in damage to the electrode and therefore to the battery in general, which cannot be overcome, and the battery's performance and quality begin to decline until it eventually fails completely. The positive point about solid state batteries is that they can offer the same capacity of a liquid state battery but with smaller electrodes and can charge much more quickly. So it's, you're just replacing your battery, aren't you? I mean, it just goes on and on and on with this story as well. Let me just quickly show you that. So it's a very interesting story. I say this is, watch out for this. Watch out for the stories and the evolution of the electric bikes in the future. Okay, the next one here. Oh crikey, wrong one. This was here. Again, Royal Enfield, one of my favourite manufacturers of the last couple of years, I've got to say. Really do like what they're doing. But they're also going in off-road electric motorcycle because they've invested in the manufacturer Stark Varg. I think they're a Spanish manufacturer, aren't they? So Royal Enfield has bought a 10% stake in off-road motorcycle maker Stark Varg, with the Indian band invested €50 million in the motocross bike maker. The move is widely believed to be the vehicle to help speed along Royal Enfield's development of its own electric motorcycles, and we'll see the two partner for a collaborative research and development of road-going electric bikes. So Stark Varg, if you don't know, made their electric bike, came out in 2021. It's, fantastic, really. Fantastic. 6 hours runtime, nearly 1,000 Newton meters of torque, 450 equivalent, CC 450, 80 horsepower motocross bikes. It's equivalent to that, but it's just, pretty impressive, really. So there we go. Watch out for Royal Enfield in the future for electric bikes as well. Okay, so let's talk about some Harley Davidson stories, shall we? Now, there's quite a few stories coming out here. Let me just quickly bring these over here. So one of the first was, there's quite a few publications around the world have picked this story up now. But I think it's really interesting. Right, let me just quickly show you here. This is from the Hindustan Times in India, of course. And basically, there's this guy riding around on this Harley Davidson, one of the 750 streets, I think it was. And basically, he's riding around on this bike, which is really funny, and he's got 2 milk containers strapped to it. So he's obviously delivering milk on it, and it's really funny because he's just using his Harley Davidson, and apparently it's gone viral. This clip, and he's got quite a few clips of him riding around on this Harley Davidson. So, it gives a new definition to a milkmaid, really, doesn't it? But there we go. So, Harley Davidson delivering milk, would you Adam and Eve it, as they say. But there we go. I thought that was quite funny. As I say, I will get into the comments. Hello, Larry. Hello. Sorry if I'm a little bit late seeing you there. Good morning to you in California. Hope you're all well. As I say, but... very interesting there from them. Let's just see if I can. No, I can't do that. If I can do that, maybe I could show the comments in the future. But anyway, let's just move on there. But I thought that was an interesting. So yeah, some guys using his Harley Davidson. Don't know why. I mean, it seems like an expensive way to do it. But there we go. Lots of stories are confirming now that the 350cc and potentially even the 500cc from the Harley Davidson QJ Motor collaboration is actually going to be announced on the 18th. There has been some to-ing and fro-ing on this, whether it would actually happen or not, or whether it's come later in the year. But more and more are reporting now that it's certain. I want to reserve judgment on that, obviously, because nothing's certain until it actually happens, of course. But there we go. So lots and lots are reporting that. Yes. Okay. Well, obviously, this is from WeBike magazine, Japan. WeBike. Obviously, they're saying, well, okay, Harley Davidson models at once. New models announced this January 19th. I'm just wondering because they're saying the 19th because it's forward in their clock. That's why. Because it goes all the way back. So it's 10 a.m. Central Standard Time in the US, so it goes all the way forward. So yeah, it's going to be probably early hours in the morning, I would imagine, on January the 19th, the following day for Japan. But anyway, so they're basically saying that there's obviously they're giving a little rundown here on this article of all the bikes that have been already released. So basically saying the world premiere is January the 19th starting at 1 a.m. This is for Japan, this is. Okay, so just bear this in mind. And then just running through some of the bikes that have already been released, the cruiser models and all that sort of stuff. Some nice pictures here. There we go. So all these are the 2023 bikes here. Some decent bikes. They got the Sport Glide there in Japan as well. But there was some indication here. There's quite a few press outlets are reporting that there's definitely going to be a handful of new bikes from Harley Davidson. And this is in addition to the CVOs, in addition to the anniversary models as well. But there's going to be definitely some new bikes. So let's watch this space. Whether it's just the 350, the 500, whether it's the Pan America 975, where it's that breakout with the 117 engine. Yeah, the list goes on and on and on. There's also more talk, as I say, I've been saying this for weeks actually, another Revolution Max engine bike or a couple of bikes. We know there's going to be the new Nightster, which I find really strange, that they've almost like got rid of the old Nightster and brought out a new variation of the Nightster. So that's a 1-year model, the original Nightster. Anyway, so that's the Nightster S, but it seems as if they're going to bring out another one, maybe 2 as well. And yeah, I guess it could be the Bronx. People talking about that Bronx again. Yeah, so this is the story again about the guy who set milk. Yes, it's Harley Davidson Street 750. There we go. And he uses it to deliver milk every day. Would you believe? Fulfilling both his passion and profession in a completely unique way. And he's just got loads and loads and loads of followers there. Okay, so here's another story here from Dezeen, Dezeen.com. Basically, they got a story here that Heatherwick Studio, they are park designers or something. UK studio, Heatherwick Studio, is designing a park alongside Harley Davidson's headquarters in Milwaukee. which will contain the amphitheatre for up to 700 motorcycles during rallies. Envisioned as the first step in plans to revamp Harley Davidson's headquarters to mark its 120th anniversary this year. The park will be built on a dull parking space next to its current office. The unfenced park, which will be developed with Milwaukee-based HGA will be focused on a landscape amphitheatre that will host motorcycle rallies as well. Well, obviously they're going to have a big celebration there this year as well, so that looks really nice, and creating some kind of amphitheatre effect, or you just park your bikes there and just mill around. Yeah, look, it seems really done. It's basically funded by the Harley Davidson Foundation. The park will contain 20 species of trees and 120 different plant species. At its centre, the 83-metre wide sunken event space will be surrounded by tiered seating and contain motorcycle driveways, turning circles, and a 360-degree viewpoint. Yeah, sounds really interesting, doesn't it? There we go. So that's from DCannotFail. So Harley Davidson headquarters getting a new park for motorcycles as well. Right. Let's just get on to the main story, shall we? Okay. The point of this live show discussion, this radio podcast thing discussion, is about Harley Davidson, because I've been seeing lots of stories over the last couple of days, which I haven't mentioned here, right? Which I haven't shown you there, but a lot of it's sort of financial stories. A lot of it is not suggestive, but a lot of it is basically trying to predict how Harley Davidson is going to do, and what they're likely, how much success they're likely to have in the next couple of days or so. So it's very interesting from that point of view. And a lot of this speculation reports from financiers, it's very hard to sometimes get actual meat on the bones, as it were. It's a little bit hit and miss, I find, with these stories. And, I think, you could easily go to town with every report that comes out, because one will say that Harley Davidson are going to fail. The other ones will say, no, Harley Davidson are going to succeed. But here's my take on this for 2023 for Harley Davidson. In particular, I think they have to succeed. They have to succeed this year with their bikes, with their, the sales, with the way they, if they're going to give a lot of interest to riders, if they're going to attract riders, new riders and old riders, to spend their money in, apologies, I've got a bit of a cold, to spend their money in dealerships to buy new bikes or whatever. I think they've got to do something special here, and I think they've bought out the new bikes, and as I said in the live show and other videos, I'm a little bit, they're a little bit flat for me. I think they could have. I think this January the 18th is a little bit odd as well. I think if you're going to do it, just do it the first week of January. Just start it off. Just go with it. But this January the 18th, it's a little bit odd, I think. But anyway, we're all waiting for it. But what can they do to have a successful year? Well, obviously they're going to have to sell lots of bikes, right? That's obvious. But many of these reports which we're saying, and they're kind of saying what I've been saying for a while now, for a long, long time, is that with the prices as they are, with the inflation as it is, a Harley Davidson really put themselves in the best position possible to sell any bikes at all. Could it go off the cliff? They've got to have a plan in place that doesn't happen. Whatever happens, they're going to be selling bikes, and it's up to them, obviously, to be making those decisions, right? Now, it could be that the likes of motorcycles in the United States, for example, that people will not be suffering as many other people around the world are suffering as well, in terms of inflation, in terms of losing jobs and everything. So it might work out a little bit better for the American market, but in terms of a global market, in terms of, let's say, the Europeans or Australia or, wherever, anywhere around the world, Middle East, Far East, have they just priced themselves out of the market, and have they just lost complete touch with what people will be willing to pay? Hello, Michael. Hi. No one can predict the future. Absolutely right. And they need new platforms, as what we are seeing now. Yeah, I believe they need new platforms. They definitely need new bikes. The base is getting older. They need new blood. Yeah, they do. They need to attract a new rider, younger riders, yes, but different riders, and that's always happens, doesn't it? People get older, and it's that next generation coming through. Or now the bulk, the people who buy the expensive bikes are going to be that middle-aged group, isn't it? So that's what Harley Davidson have to ensure, that they can attract those kinds of customers, and will they have enough money to do it? So, but I think a lot of these reports are saying that Harley Davidson, they have no choice here. It's their last attempt at really saving the day. It's the way that they're going to operate this year, and I don't think they've started off very well with the price. I'm not sure you can blame them. I'm not sure there's any blame here. I'm not sure you can criticize them. I think they've made a really big mistake here in having these bikes still really expensive, or just not saying to people, do you know what, we're going to give you a big discount on these bikes. These are the prices, but do you know what? As an incentive, we're going to give you a £2,000, $2,000 deduction on this. Straight from every dealership. We're going to instruct them to sell it a little bit less. They could have done that just to spark a lot of enthusiasm. Maybe they could have worked with their financial company as well, which is another big revenue earner, to offer reduced rates or something like that. Or now obviously this will cost the company a lot of money, and maybe people would say that it would cost them too much money, but it would help people in wanting or being able to achieve their ambition to buy a Harley Davidson or to buy a new one. But so many of the comments I've seen from my videos and in online and in all that sort of stuff, people have just said, as I've said in the last video, enough is enough. These are just too expensive now. We're not going to buy a new bike. We're just going to stick with what we've got. Or, it really depends what they're going to give us for our bike, and whether we just spend an extra couple of $1,000 on a brand new bike as well. I'm sure that their sales definitely won't disappear, but I think they're going to be severely hit if they don't do something. And my point is, they have to do something, and this is what a lot of these articles I've been reading the last couple of days have been saying. They have to do something to offset the global economic position that many people find themselves as well. I mean, let us know your thoughts. I think in their mind, just like any manufacturer, that they've got to succeed. They've got to have a good year. They've got to, be innovative. They've got to appeal to a lot of people. And I understand people have this kind of anti-Chinese or anti-small bike opinion, but that doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter, because these bikes are not for you, are they? They could bring out a 125cc, a 50cc bike, a little scooter. It doesn't matter. If you're not buying it, it doesn't matter, does it? As long as they're still selling the bikes that you want to buy, then that's all that matters. But if you're not even buying the bikes that you want to buy, how are they going to survive? So they have to offer more bikes. They have to offer different styles of bikes, and cheaper bikes, a lot cheaper. Now, this is what a lot of these articles have been saying this, right? They've been saying that the motorcycle sales are bouncing back. It's bouncing back. And this year, 2023, there's one particular article, and I forgot where it was, but it basically was saying, and you can take my word for it or not, it basically said that this year, 2023, is going to be a bumper year for motorcycle sales. People coming out of COVID, people getting back on their feet, the world are reopening properly, let's say, better supply chains, all that sort of stuff. But what it also said is that people are veering towards smaller bikes, cheaper bikes as cheap modes of transport. So if you buy a big expensive bike, like a Harley Davidson or an Indian or any top of the range, you're not going to have that. You're not going to fulfill that need. So if you're going to go and buy a cheaper bike, whatever it is, or a scooter, depends on the journey that you're going to do. Hey, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? It makes absolute sense that that's what people are going to do. They're going to look at these bikes and they're going to say, you know, we can't have this, we can't buy this. It's out of our price range, so we need something cheaper. And this is where Harley Davidson may have just saved the day. They may have just saved the day with these small CC bikes coming out. It could have come at the most ideal time for them. And I would like them to do a lot more. I don't want them to disappear. I don't want them to fail. I want them to succeed. But for me, the only way they're going to succeed and be able to still give you these bikes that you like, give you the road glide and the street glide and the CVOs and the trikes and all the cruisers and everything like that. The only way they're going to be able to do that is to sell other bikes that just keep on fueling them, keep on bringing new people to the brand. And if they're selling 350 bikes, and let's say they use those in their rider training programs, let's just say they sell them to people as cheap commuter bikes. They sell them to, young people just starting out on their bikes, biking journey, let's say, their biking days. They got a Harley Davidson. They're riding around, having fun, and they look pretty good. Great. That's what they want. So they could have hit a home run here, as the Americans would say, with this strategy this year, because I think they see that they've got to succeed. Failure is not an option. They cannot fail. As if you see on my thumbnail, they cannot fail. This year has got to be the year where not only Harley Davidson, of course, but I'm sure all manufacturers of anything, but especially motorcycles, are looking at this problem. They're looking at the future, not only in terms of energy, in terms of inflation, in terms of raw materials and supply chains, but they're looking at customer bases as well. They're looking at who is going to buy our bikes, who is going to buy our product in the next year, the next 2 years, the next 10 years. And where is the main competition coming from? Well, the main competition is coming from, obviously, those manufacturers who are producing bikes for very little money. Indian motorcycle manufacturers, the likes of Royal Enfield, who are producing quality bikes, TVS, Bajaj, Hero from India. You've got all the Chinese brands, and I keep on talking about them because if you don't acknowledge them as a competitive force over the next few years, you're going to have a rude awakening. You're going to have a rude awakening when people are just going to start switching bikes. And this is exactly what happened. And I talk about this because we had this here in the UK. We had this very same thing with the British motorcycles when the Japanese bikes started first coming over in the 60s and 70s especially. And I talked about this in the previous live show as well. But one of the reasons why they succeeded in taking over the market here, through the sort of 70s and 80s and 90s and so on and so forth. One of the big reasons that they succeeded was that people who were riding British bikes at the time underestimated them. They underestimated the competition. They underestimated the value that people would see in them and what people would be using the bikes for. And that's the issue here. you as a Harley Davidson fan, or myself, I class myself as this as well, Harley Davidson fan, Harley Davidson rider, all that sort of stuff, you're going to be, you've got to look at this from a strategy. Got to look at this as a strategy, and you got to see which is the best course of action for a company like Harley Davidson or Triumph or Indian or BMW or whatever. If you're selling expensive bikes and you don't have anything cheaper, then you basically reduced your market. You've reduced your ability to sell to people with less income. Because if the people with greater income are not buying, you've got a problem. So I think Harley Davidson have got they're on the precipice, they're on the edge of success here. Or it's on, they're teetering. Let's put it this way. They're teetering on success or failure. And I think that, you could say that about everything in life, of course. I don't want to be flippant or anything, but you could say that about anything in life. Everything's always teetering on success or failure, but you kind of have strategies and tactics to try and help you through through this way and that way. I think they are, if with the bikes that they are proposing to bring out, I think it'd be very interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of energy from Harley Davidson this year because it's the 120th anniversary. But energy and enthusiasm doesn't mean anything. If it doesn't translate into sales. And that's the thing here. Michael, Harley will not fail. In the industry, is the bike to have a status symbol which all bikers want. Well, yeah, look, I'm not discounting that. I'm not discounting that at all. Actually, I think that's a decent shout. But I think the problem is that you've got what's the word I'm looking for? You've got status symbol. You've got what people want, but it's whether they can get there. It's whether they can realize those dreams, and that's where the issue is. It's whether they can realize those dreams. I hope they do, and I'm sure they will. As I say, this is not a doom and gloom observation. This is more like a reflection of what I think Harley Davidson are doing, and well done to them to come up with different bikes. The 975. I would love them to bring out smaller CC versions of the Revolution Max engine. I would love them to do that. I would because you got to look at how they're going to. Again, I always come back to it. It doesn't matter whether you like the bike or I like the bike. It's whether somebody else who doesn't like what you're riding will like it, and that's the key thing here. But if they can produce that simple bikes as well, that can fuel the company, I think that's the strategy. I think definitely that's the strategy for Harley Davidson. And these new bikes, this Nightster S, the Breakout 117 is a different kettle of fish, really. The Pan America 975, this 350, this other bike, and also let's not forget that Harley Davidson, they are also in collaboration with Hero Motorcycles from India, and they're going to be starting to produce initially a couple of bikes, but I think it's 8 or 10 bikes, different brand new models, by the end of 2023 into 2024. So it's going to be a huge move by Harley Davidson to do this. I'm convinced that it's the right move. The problem is, will there be a backlash against the patriotism of the Harley Davidson fans in the United States? I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there would be something like that. And possibly even a bit of a backlash from riders around the world who just want the Harley Davidson as an American product. But let's face it, especially Harley Davidson riders from around the world, especially in Europe, our bikes, for the most part, certainly the last couple of years, are not produced in the United States anyway. They're produced in Thailand. if you're in South America, a lot of the bikes were produced in Brazil. Before it was India as well, but that's before Harley Davidson pulled out a couple of years ago, of course. And they were producing the Street 500 and the 750 there. But then in Thailand, they've done that. They had that manufacturing plant over there in the Far East, so they can overcome or still sell bikes in Europe, even though they've got the tariffs, the import tariffs. That's it. Morris, the days of being reassuringly expensive have gone, I think. I agree. I think, look, you can think, oh, okay, I'm buying an expensive bike for superior quality and all that. And in many ways there is. In many ways you are buying something solid, right? And touch wood, I've never had a problem with my bike, or never a big problem with my bike. I've tinkered with it and all that sort of stuff, but never had a real issue. So I've done, a few miles, all weathers, riding it, and never had an issue. It's been a good bike. It's been a great bike, in fact. And I expect it to continue to be a great bike for the next 20 or 30,000 miles. There's no reason why my Harley won't do over 100,000 miles, 120,000 miles. Regular servicing, just riding conservatively, it should be all right. You might need the odd little tinker here and there, but I think it will be fine. Now, it's whether that was value for money, even though it's been a good bike, and I think it is. But with the new bikes, or the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years, but especially the 2023 so far, you've got to be looking at the value. And I said this especially about the cruisers the other day. I'm not sure that the value is in the cruisers. I think there's more value in the Tourers, definitely. And maybe those are the ones that are going to sell more, and they are the biggest sellers anyway. I know the Lowrider S and the Lowrider ST was sold really well last year, but will they do better? I think I'm really interested to see how many bikes would be sold this year and what people's thoughts are this year about the brand new bikes. Are they, and the dealerships as well. I'd love to hear from dealerships. I'd love to hear from what their fears are for this year. What do they feel they're going to be selling new bikes, new products, or are they going to be struggling? Especially because their hands are tied, really, in many ways. They have a retail price, MSRP from Harley Davidson, but we know that Harley Davidson dealerships in the United States, I'm not sure about Canada, I don't think so, but they add whatever they want to add, whereas in the UK and other parts of the world, no, there is a fixed price. What it says on the website, that's it. That's what you start off on as a high price, and then you can knock them down to whatever if they're willing to give you a deal. I mean, interestingly, I went to a shop the other day. I went to buy a drug dealer TV the other day. They would not drug dealer TV. It's a huge TV, right? They wouldn't offer any sort of discount, any deal to be done. I was very, it's only because I had some puppy eyes from my lad and my other half that I was just like, okay, we'll buy it though. But it's just like, well, I was ready to walk away. If you're not willing to do a deal, then walk away. I'm more than happy to do that at any turn. And I think if the dealerships aren't willing to do a deal, if they're still trying to earn or add extra money, a lot of extra money onto the price of these bikes, I think that's going to hit them even more. And it'll be interesting to see how sales are affected. Will they reduce? Will they reduce? Will they reduce by a lot? Are we talking a 10% reduction, 20%, 30%? I mean, if you're talking about 30 or 40% reduction in sales, that's a huge loss. That's a huge loss for any business. And whether they could survive with 20, 30% reduction in sales, I'm not sure. I don't have the maths. I don't have the the ear of the dealership, so I couldn't tell you. But you would imagine that there's going to be a lot of worried people this year in dealerships who are trying to sell brand new products, whatever it is, and nobody's buying. Oh, well, at the worst case, nobody's buying. I'm sure some people will buy. Of course, they will. So look, but I think they are quality. They are quality products. They may not be to everybody's style, of course, and people may talk about the technology as being old and all that sort of stuff. But it is a solid piece of equipment, isn't it? And I think they've got better over the years. I think they've got better. The quality's got better. But some people will always have dud motorcycle, lemons, whatever. They will always have problems with them. And the machines are machines. They'll always do it. And Harley Davidson haven't wrapped themselves in glory over the last couple of years of being able to sort out a lot of problems, of course. But anyway, listen, it's an interesting thing. I'm going to let us know your thoughts on that as well. What Harley Davidson can do, and have they got the right strategy for this year? Is it the right thing for them? I'm not. I'll be very interested to see. What happens there. But I'm just trying to get rid of that. Just have a bit of something else. Let's try this one. Yeah. Here we go. No, hold on. There's something like that. No. Is that it? Nope, wrong one. I'm still trying to give you the... No. Wrong one. Wrong one. This one. There we go. Crikey. God, what a falar that was. There we go. I'm hoping... There we go. I'm hoping this will be okay. Right, let's try that. There we go. Look, they could sell all bikes for just the manufacturer's retail price. They make most of their money on the side jobs they make in their shop and add-ons. Yeah. Look, there's lots of things. There's lots to be said for that. That Harley Davidson can definitely make the dealerships can still make a lot of money through their parts and other services and everything like that. They don't necessarily have to sell bikes. Everybody keeps on talking about the merchandise and all that sort of stuff. Who knows? I mean, who knows if they are big sellers? I think Harley Davidson, or sorry, not the company now, I'm going to talk about the dealerships. I think they're in a decent position this year because there's going to be a lot of interest in the 120th anniversary. And I think if it's whether the dealerships are allowed to have their own celebrations and their own style, or whether they have to toe a company narrative, let's say, which I would imagine that they would. They would have to, cover a company narrative of sorts. It's whether they would be able to do that. Let me just get rid of that because that's not working. There we go. But it would be interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of interest in Harley Davidson this year, especially if they capture, let's say, have lots of celebrations, lots of parties. All the dealerships, if they put on loads of parties every week or every month or something like that. They always do throughout the summer anyway. So I think there's something to be said here. There's something to be said for having a successful year. And a lot of this they can do themselves. And they may not even need to sell a lot of bikes. They can just sell a lot of products in general. And that can keep them ticking over. And, there's always going to be people who will buy the brand new bikes. Of course there will. There's always going to be people who can afford it, right? But, I just wonder. I just wonder how many people will not be able to watch it. Right. Anyway, that's. I think that's it. How long have I gone for? Nearly an hour today. So it's been a horrible, horrible day here. I take that back. It's been a lovely day in the morning, and then it just got worse and worse, and just raining and miserable. There we go. Sixpack, hello. I miss the old Harley Davidson shops. They turned into boutiques. Yeah, they have. I miss a lot of the old bike shops. Full stop. I always thought about opening an old style type venue. This is back in the day, years ago. I was thinking about that, but yeah, it's a shame, really, in many ways. But look, you know, that's the future, isn't it? That's how these things have happened. They've grown into big dealerships, you know, multi dealership businesses or companies, a lot of purchasing power, that kind of thing, you know. So hey, it's what I always find interesting. You got multi dealership companies, and they also have are in competition with each other a lot of the time as well, which I find really interesting. You know, they don't seem to help each other out. I know this from a local one. You know, there's another one that's a few miles away, and another one a few miles away. And you ask them, "Oh, have you got this bike?" They say no. So have you got another one? He thought, "Well, no, there's none there. There's none there." But then you find that there is something there. You're like going, "That's a bit weird." But it's always comes down to, you know, it always comes down to salespeople wanting to make that sale, doesn't it? Morris 6, cheers, mate. Thank you. Hope you're feeling better. Who, me? Yeah, I hope I will. I don't know why today I got a little bit of a cold, but there we go. Right. Anyway, I think that's it, don't you? I think there's lots of little stories coming out. There's some interesting ones, but I say, you know, there's nothing really to. A lot of the stories right now are just kind of rumor, or people are just coming out with a suggestion saying, "Oh yeah, the 975, the Pan America 975 is going to be like this." Well, this is just opinion, right? It's not fact. It's not factual. So I think, you know, you can only go by what a lot of these stories are right now, what people are thinking, or in other parts of the world. But all the news that I've already brought out are pretty much that's it. There isn't anything more now. And look, we've only got, another 7 days to another week. I think we can all wait another week, can't we, to see what happens. Now, I'll be doing a live show from here, like doing a watch along, and you know, if you want to come here, I'll be doing like an instant reaction thereafter. So you come and watch it here, or watch it by yourself, or whatever. I've tried to do it a couple of times the last couple of years, and it's sometimes the websites don't load quickly enough, and I did have a problem with my internet connection, but that's all fixed now. I've got a live feed into the studio now, so that's all working great. So hopefully everything's all good. Right, let me get rid of that now. There we go. Right, that's it for now. Let me just get that. There we go. And we're back. We're back with that one. And on to another. I'm going to try and get another video. Well, I've got videos coming out daily at the moment. That'll stop on the 20th. So I will stop that then. I've got a couple more live shows, I'm sure, over the next few days. But then the big one will be for the reveal launch day on the 18th as well. But listen, I hope you have a great day. Whatever you're doing, hope you're enjoying yourselves, and I'll catch you again on another video, on another live show coming very, very soon. And all I can say is, well, it's been emotional. Bye now.